You believe intelligence will make you admired. But I tell you, ordinary intelligence makes you harmless, predictable, and weak. What you need is a mind that cuts like a dagger, that bends the world to your will. In this video, I will show you how to become dangerously smart. Why? Because the world does not reward the honest thinker. It rewards the one who knows how to turn knowledge into power. And this, my friend, is the secret they never wished for you to learn. Listen carefully, for what I am about to tell you will determine whether you remain a harmless thinker or transform into a dangerously intelligent force. Many people believe that knowledge itself is power. They quote this phrase as if it were divine truth, yet it is a half-truth, a sweet lie told to the masses to make them worship learning without ever using it. Knowledge alone is nothing more than dust on a shelf. It is only when knowledge is wielded, sharpened, and turned into a weapon that it becomes power. Power is not in what you know, but in what you can do with what you know. And this, my friend, is where the dangerous mind separates itself from the ordinary one. Consider the scholars of my time, men who devoted their lives to books, drowning themselves in endless studies of philosophy, law, and theology. They knew much. Kings more than generals, more than the people they served. Yet tell me who ruled, who commanded armies, who bent the wills of men and carved their names into history. Not the scholar, but the one who knew how to apply knowledge. The ruler who learned just enough to outwit his enemies. The advisor who whispered the right words into the right ears. The general who turned his understanding of terrain, weather, and fear into victories. Those were the men who transformed information into influence, learning into leverage. And those are the ones remembered. Knowledge must never remain static. It must live, breathe, and cut like steel.
Wow.
The dangerously smart individual never studies simply to fill his mind. He studies to arm himself. Each lesson is a dagger hidden beneath his cloak. Each observation of human behavior is an arrow waiting to be loosed. Each fact, each piece of history, each whisper of wisdom is not collected out of vanity, but forged into a weapon to be used when the time comes. When you read, when you listen, when you learn, you must ask yourself not, is this interesting? But, how can this serve me? How can this sharpen my hand when I move against an opponent? How can this strengthen my position when the world turns against me? This is how knowledge must be approached as an arsenal. The ordinary man acquires knowledge and brags about it. He flaunts it in conversation, hoping to impress. He believes that being called intelligent is the highest form of praise. But the dangerously smart man has no such hunger for recognition. He keeps his wisdom hidden, locked in silence, revealing only fragments, never the whole. He uses what he knows not to appear clever but to maneuver, to outthink, to conquer. He understands that the true value of knowledge lies not in its display, but in its execution. There is nothing more powerful than a man underestimated, nothing more fatal than knowledge concealed until the precise moment of attack. Ask yourself, when you learn of politics, do you merely repeat the arguments of others, or do you study the structure of power itself? When you learn of human psychology, do you simply enjoy the theory, or do you observe the weaknesses in the people around you, their pride, their envy, their secret fears, so that you may one day exploit them? When you read of history, do you admire it as a story, or do you extract its lessons like a thief breaking into a treasury? This is the difference between harmless intelligence and dangerous intelligence. The first amuses itself, the second prepares itself. Knowledge must be organized with purpose. Do not learn everything. Do not waste your mind on trivialities. The dangerously smart man knows what to gather and what to discard. He studies not for vanity but for strategy. Learn about power, for it governs all things. Learn about human nature, for it never changes. Learn about deception, for it is the shield of the weak and the weapon of the strong. Learn about war, for even in peace, men wage battles in shadows. Fill your mind only with what can give you an advantage, what can sharpen your influence, what can fortify your position against rivals. All else is distraction, and distraction is the enemy of mastery. And remember this, knowledge grows dangerous only when coupled with boldness. A timid man with a library is still a coward. He will die with his books while bolder men carve out empires. You must not only possess knowledge, but dare to use it. Dare to make decisions others fear to make. Dare to take actions others hesitate to take. Knowledge without courage is like a sword left to rust. Courage without knowledge is reckless, but knowledge sharpened by courage. This is the essence of dangerous intelligence. This is the combination that creates men who are unstoppable, men who command fear, men who shape the destiny of nations. If you truly wish to rise above the masses, you must stop treating knowledge as entertainment. Stop learning to feel wise. Stop reading to appear sophisticated. Every lesson you acquire must have a purpose. If you learn about finance, let it be so you may gain wealth. If you study law, let it be so you may bend it in your favor. If you study the art of persuasion, let it be so you may control the thoughts of others. Knowledge without application is a corpse. Knowledge applied is a weapon. And weapons, when sharpened, do not merely protect, they conquer. You have been taught since childhood to be moral, to be honest, to be kind, to place virtue above ambition. They told you that goodness is its own reward, that fairness brings peace, that morality brings honor. And yet, look closely at the world around you. Do the most moral men rule it? Do the honest hold the thrones? Do the kind sit upon the seats of power? No. You will see instead that it is the cunning, the ruthless, the strategic, the ones who knew how to bend morality, that rise above the rest. Morality is preached by those who wish to control you, but abandon the moment it no longer serves them. The masses cling to morality like a child clings to a toy, believing it to be sacred, unshakable. But those who are dangerously smart understand a deeper truth. Morality is not an absolute. It is a tool. It is a mask you wear when it benefits you, a cloak that hides your ambition until the moment is right. And when morality becomes a chain, when it threatens your survival or your ascent, you must cast it aside without hesitation. For what is morality if it leaves you defenseless before your enemies? What good is virtue if it makes you the lamb at the mercy of the wolf? Understand this: people admire morality when they are weak. They praise fairness when they cannot win by strength. They invoke justice when they cannot seize power by force. But when the balance shifts, when they themselves taste strength, they abandon morality with a smile. The ruler who preaches mercy will order executions without pause when his throne is threatened. The merchant who praises honesty will lie with every breath if it protects his fortune. The lover who swears loyalty will betray when another promise shines brighter. And yet these same men will demand that you remain virtuous. Why? Because your morality serves them. Your obedience protects their interests. And so long as you remain bound by it, they remain safe from your ambition. To be dangerously smart, you must pierce this illusion. You must see morality for what it is: a convenient invention. It is the stage costume of politics, the theatrical mask of religion, the honeyed speech of philosophers who could not grasp power with their own hands. Those who command nations understand that morality must be used strategically. A prince must appear merciful, generous, and honest. But he must also know when to betray, when to deceive, when to strike. A ruler who is bound entirely by morality is doomed, for he will act as men believe he should, not as the situation demands, and situations, my friend, are cruel. Circumstances care nothing for virtue. Circumstances demand strength, adaptability, ruthlessness when necessary. This is why the wise ruler learns to wear morality as an actor wears a mask. Convincing, believable, but removable at will. No, you may act, should I then abandon morality entirely? No, that is the folly of the reckless. Even the most dangerous mind must understand that men crave morality, just as they crave food and shelter. They want to believe their rulers are just. They want to believe their friends are loyal. They want to believe their lovers are faithful. This desire blinds them. And you, if you are clever, will satisfy this hunger with illusions. You will appear moral when eyes are upon you. You will speak of virtue, honor, and duty. You will act with generosity when it costs you little but wins you much. You will display honesty in small matters so that your lies in greater matters are never suspected. You will wear morality convincingly so that others open their hearts and lower their guards. And when the moment comes, you will remove the mask and act without hesitation, seizing what they never imagined you would take. This is not cruelty for its own sake. This is survival. This is mastery. Consider history. The men remembered as great rulers were not saints but strategists. Caesar did not conquer Gaul by kindness. Alexander did not hold empires through mercy. Even in my own land, rulers who hesitated in the name of virtue were devoured by those who understood that morality must yield to necessity. What is necessity? It is the cold hand that forces you to act when virtue would make you hesitate. It is the whisper that says, do this, or be destroyed. And in that moment, the dangerously smart man does not pause to measure whether the act is moral. He measures only whether it secures his position, strengthens his power, or ensures his survival. Do not be deceived by those who pretend otherwise. When a rival smiles and speaks of honor, suspect treachery. When a politician proclaims virtue, suspect ambition. When a priest declares righteousness, suspect influence. The words of morality fall sweet upon the ear, but behind them lies a blade. And so you must learn to wield the same weapon. Speak of morality to pacify the crowd. Promise justice to silence unrest. Offer mercy to win loyalty, but within yourself remain free of such illusions. For the man who believes his own mask is the greatest fool of all. Wear virtue when it profits you. Cast it aside when it threatens you, but never allow yourself to be blinded by it. You must also understand the danger of extremes. To appear entirely immoral is to inspire hatred, and hatred breeds rebellion. Men will forgive cruelty if it is disguised as justice, but they will not forgive cruelty that strips away the illusion of morality altogether. And so the balance is this: you must be immoral when necessary, but moral in appearance always. Appear merciful when you must kill, appear generous when you must take, appear honest when you must deceive. Let the world believe you are virtuous, even as you sharpen the dagger behind your back. For the greatest victories are won not only by action, but by perception, and perception is crafted by morality's mask. The dangerously smart individual knows that morality, like wealth, like weapons, like influence, it is a resource. It is to be spent, saved, and invested with care. He knows when to feign it, when to use it, when to discard it. He understands that virtue is not an end in itself, but a means to secure advantage. And he never forgets that men, blinded by their own need for morality, will never suspect the strategist who wears it so well. You may believe that the world is ruled by truth, by facts, by reason. But I tell you now, truth has little power when compared to perception. Men do not act upon reality, they act upon what they believe reality to be. And it is the dangerously smart man who understands this distinction, who bends appearances, who manipulates illusions, who shapes the minds of others so completely that they willingly submit without ever realizing they are being led. Power does not belong to the one who is strongest or most virtuous, but to the one who can control what others see. Consider the battlefield. A general may have fewer soldiers, weaker weapons, less ground. By truth, he should lose. But if he convinces his enemy that reinforcements are hidden in the forest, or that his men are more disciplined than they are, the enemy hesitates. Hesitation breeds fear. Fear spreads like fire, and suddenly the weaker general prevails. Did he win by strength? No. He won by perception. He made men see what was not there, and they destroyed themselves believing in his illusion. This lesson stretches beyond war. It applies to politics, business, love, and every struggle where men clash. He who controls perception controls the outcome. The masses are simple in their judgments. They do not see deeply. They see only what is presented before their eyes. They believe what is repeated most often. They admire what glitters, even if it is worthless. They despise what appears weak, even if it hides great strength. To be dangerously smart is to understand that appearances are not decoration. They are weapons. If men see you as strong, they will fear you. If they see you as generous, they will trust you. If they see you as ruthless, they will obey you. It matters little whether these qualities are truly yours. What matters is that they believe. Do not make the mistake of revealing yourself too fully. Truth, when naked, is fragile. A man who shows his weaknesses openly invites vultures to circle. A man who displays all his strength too quickly provokes envy and resistance. The art lies in disguise. You must master the skill of appearing one thing while being another. Show humility when you are plotting greatness. Show indifference when you are watching intently. Show weakness when you prepare to strike. This is the dance of perception, the theater of power, and those who play it well dominate those who foolishly insist on honesty. Ask yourself, or when you speak, do others see confidence or hesitation? When you walk into a room, do men feel your presence or ignore it? When you fail, do you let it appear as defeat, or do you transform it into a lesson that makes others admire your resilience? Every gesture, every word, every silence becomes part of the perception you craft. Do not leave it to chance. The dangerously smart man engineers his image as carefully as a builder lays stone upon stone. He knows that once perception is established, it is difficult to break. If men believe you are strong, even your smallest act of weakness will be excused. If they believe you are weak, even your greatest triumph will be doubted. History is filled with rulers who commanded armies not by sheer numbers, but by sheer perception. Some appeared merciful to hide their cruelty until it was needed. Others appeared invincible, their enemies convinced of their superiority before swords ever crossed. The appearance of power often creates power itself. Men surrender not because they must, but because they believe resistance is futile. This is the ultimate deception, to make men defeat themselves by believing in the image you project. Do not underestimate symbols, rituals, and appearances. A crown, a robe, a title, a procession. These things are not power in themselves, yet they shape how men perceive authority. A simple man becomes a ruler when he dons the crown, because men are conditioned to see power in its symbols. Even today, the clever individual uses clothing, wealth, associations, and gestures to project an image greater than himself. The masses will rarely question the truth. They respond to what they can see and touch. They will believe the mask more readily than the face behind it. But beware, appearances must be consistent. A mask that slips is more dangerous than no mask at all. If you pretend to generosity but are exposed in greed, the betrayal will be remembered forever. If you appear merciful but are caught in cruelty, the illusion collapses. Thus, you must craft your appearances with discipline. Speak less so your silence may be interpreted as wisdom. Act decisively so your hesitation is never visible. Guard your private life so no rumor can undo the perception you have built. To master perception is to master discipline, for the mask must never fall in the wrong moment. You may think this is deception, but tell me, what is truth in the eyes of the masses? If 10,000 men believe you are merciful, then in their world you are merciful, no matter how many throats you cut in the dark. If they believe you are strong, then you are strong, even if your strength is held together with shadows. Men do not care for truth, they care for stories. They cling to narratives that comfort them, that give them order in a chaotic world. If you provide them with a story they can believe, you may shape their actions, their loyalty, their very lives. This is not deception. It is mastery of the human condition. Remember this always: perception creates reality. The leader who appears weak will soon find himself treated as weak, and weakness invites predation. The leader who appears invincible will find that enemies retreat before him, even if his strength is a facade. The dangerously smart man chooses not to reveal the full truth of himself, but instead crafts a reality that others cannot resist believing. He does not need to be the strongest, the wisest, or the most righteous. He needs only to appear so, and the world will conspire to make it true. If you wish to rise, if you wish to rule, you must cease caring about what is true and begin caring about what is believed. You must become the director of the theater in which other men are actors, never realizing that the stage was designed by your hand. Their eyes will see only what you wish them to see, and their minds will bend to the reality you present. In this, you will find the true essence of power. Not in force and honesty, but in perception, for perception is the leash upon which the world is led. If you truly wish to become dangerously smart, you must abandon the childish illusion that men are noble, rational, or virtuous by nature. Men are not angels, they are beasts dressed in silk. They are guided not by reason, but by desire. They are ruled not by principle, but by fear, greed, envy, and vanity. To master human nature is to see men as they are, not as they pretend to be. And once you see them clearly, you may control them as easily as a puppeteer pulls the strings of his marionettes. The majority of men crave security above all else. They will trade freedom for comfort, liberty for safety, dignity for the illusion of protection. They do not wish to think for themselves, they wish to be told what to think. They do not seek truth, they seek reassurance. Show them certainty, and they will follow you even into ruin. Exploit their fear of chaos, and you may bind them with invisible chains stronger than iron. A ruler who understands this does not rule by force alone, but by the manipulation of fear. Fear is predictable. Fear is universal. Fear is the leash upon which all men can be led. Others are driven by ambition, by the insatiable hunger to rise above their station. These men can never be satisfied, for the more they acquire, the more they desire. Yet even they are simple to master, for their ambition blinds them. Promise them advancement, and they will serve you. Threaten to block their ascent, and they will destroy themselves in their frenzy to overcome you. The dangerously smart man feeds the ambitions of others, just enough to keep them loyal, but never enough to make them dangerous. He holds out rewards like a baited hook, granting favor when it benefits him, withholding it when it secures obedience. Then there is vanity, perhaps the easiest of all weaknesses to exploit. Every man desires to be admired, to be praised, to be thought superior. Appeal to a man's vanity, and he will give you his loyalty without even realizing he has enslaved himself. Tell him he is wise, and he will follow your counsel. Tell him he is strong, and he will fight your battles. Tell him he is noble, and he will betray his own interest to protect yours. Few men can resist flattery, and those who believe they can are often the most vulnerable. For even as they reject praise with their lips, their hearts crave it, and the one who feeds this hunger will always control them. Do not forget envy, the poison that corrodes men from within. Men will forgive many things, but they will not forgive superiority. If they see you as too great, too untouchable, they will conspire against you. If they see you as a threat to their pride, they will sharpen their daggers in the dark. And yet, this too can be used. Pit one man's envy against another, and they will destroy each other while you stand untouched. Create rivalries, inflame jealousy, and watch as men tear themselves apart over shadows. When you understand envy, you need not fight your enemies directly. You can make them consume each other for your amusement. Love, too, is a weakness. Men imagine love is noble, pure, eternal. But in truth, love is fragile, easily broken by fear, easily swayed by desire. A man may swear eternal loyalty when he loves you, but the moment his safety is threatened, he will betray you without hesitation. This is why the wise ruler trusts fear more than love. For love is voluntary, but fear is inevitable. Love can be withdrawn, but fear persists. Still, love has its uses. It may disguise chains as gifts, slavery as devotion. When men believe they love, they willingly surrender what they would resist if taken by force. Use love when it is convenient, but never depend upon it, for it will betray you when you need it most. Remember always that men are creatures of habit. They cling to routine, to tradition, to whatever makes them feel secure. If you wish to control them, do not shatter their illusions all at once. Instead, work within their habits, twist their traditions, bend their routines to your will. Give them the appearance of what they know, while altering its substance to serve your design. This way, they believe they remain in control even as they move exactly as you desire. Nothing enslaves a man more effectively than the belief that he is free. The dangerously smart man does not despise these weaknesses. He studies them. He does not curse men for their greed, their vanity, their fears. He learns to predict them, to exploit them, to use them as tools. Human nature is the most reliable force in existence. Empires may rise and fall, technologies may change, faiths may shift, but human nature remains constant. The man who understands it never finds himself surprised. He knows how men will react before they themselves know it. He knows which words will stir loyalty, which gestures will inspire fear, which promises will enslave ambition. In this knowledge lies the highest form of intelligence. Do not be deceived into thinking that reason governs men. Reason is a thin veil, easily torn away. When fear strikes, when ambition burns, when envy corrodes, when vanity blinds, reason is the first casualty. The dangerously smart man does not argue with reason. He manipulates emotion. He understands that to persuade men, he must not appeal to logic, but to their desires and fears. He must not prove his case, but embody their hopes. He must not present the truth, but the story they wish to believe. And once their hearts are captured, their minds will follow willingly, never realizing they have been enslaved. You may think yourself above this, but look within. Do you not crave recognition? Do you not fear failure? Do you not seek comfort, praise, advancement, love? These forces move within you as they do in all men. The difference between the weak and the dangerously smart is not the absence of these desires, but the mastery of them. The weak man is ruled by his nature, a slave to his impulses. The dangerously smart man rules his nature, and more importantly, he rules the nature of others. He sees desire, fear, and vanity not as enemies, but as instruments, each string waiting to be plucked to produce the music he desires. To master human nature is to hold the keys to every man's heart, to predict his choices, to shape his destiny without him ever knowing your hand was upon him. It is the highest art, greater than the sword, greater than gold, greater than law. For the sword may kill, but fear controls the living. Gold may buy loyalty, but ambition makes men betray themselves. Law may bind, but vanity makes men obey willingly. Human nature is the foundation upon which all power is built, and he who masters it commands not just men, but the very currents of history itself. Know you understand why ordinary intelligence is worthless. To read without purpose, to speak of morality without strategy, to live by truth without shaping perception, to ignore the weaknesses of human nature. These things condemn a man to obscurity. But you, if you have listened, now carry the seed of dangerous intelligence. Knowledge it is applied as a weapon, morality worn as a mask, perception controlled like a stage performance. Human nature studied, predicted, and mastered. These are the tools of power, the instruments of command, the secrets that separate rulers from the ruled. Do not imagine that the world is kind or fair or forgiving. It is not. The world is a battlefield, and those who walk blindly with virtue in their hands are trampled by those who carry daggers in their minds. To be dangerously smart is not to be cruel for cruelty's sake, nor to betray without reason. It is to see the game clearly, to play it without hesitation, to bend its rules to your will. It is to rise while others stumble, to endure while others perish, to command while others obey. Most will never grasp these truths. They will cling to their illusions, comforting themselves with the belief that goodness will save them, that truth will protect them, that knowledge alone will elevate them. Let them. For it is their blindness that gives you strength. It is their weakness that makes your intelligence dangerous. The fewer who understand, the greater your advantage. And if you have the courage to act upon what you now know, then you will not simply be intelligent. You will be feared, respected, and obeyed. Remember this always: the world is not shaped by the passive mind, but by the dangerous one. And if you choose to wield your intelligence as I have shown you, then you will no longer walk among men as one of them. You will walk among them as their master.